Kevin, it is 3 months ago, but you must have been absolutely delighted with the exam results.
Yeah, we were thrilled with them. They were spot on the prediction that we had. 42% of our Year 11s achieved 5A to C GCSE grades with English and Maths, which is what we expected. A significant improvement on where we were 17% 3 years ago. But we're not complacent, and this year we're aiming for 50%. And we feel that we'll probably plateau because we've had 11% increases over the last few years. Once we get to 50%, we think we'll start edging it up 52, 54, but that's about where we would expect to be. So we're achieving our potential now.
So what's the mechanics? How did you, from 4 or 5 years ago where the results were, what are the nuts and bolts of getting to where you are today?
Many things. It's about, firstly, relationships. I believe passionately that if the relationships are right in a school, then you've got a good foundation for learning. So we've done lots and lots of work in developing relationships between teachers and students, students and students, students and parents, and so forth. Then it's about our environment. We've got a fantastic environment that we're all very pleased and proud of. But above all, I guess, it's about quality of teaching. And we've been very fortunate in being able to recruit some really able teachers and to retain them in our school to the benefit of our kids. So, for example, 4 years ago we didn't have a maths department at this school, and now we've got the strongest department we've ever had. And the kids are responding extremely well to that. Maths nationally is a subject that some students are reluctant to get engaged with, yet we have students coming back at the weekends. They're here sometimes till 7:30 at night with their teachers. And we have a group of staff who are willing to give that time. They're passionate about their subject and they want to support our kids. And that's the same, I could say the same for arts, I could say the same for English and science and so forth. So it's that combination of positive relationships, a really good environment, an appropriate curriculum, and above all quality teaching and learning that has led to the results that we've achieved.
What does an appropriate curriculum mean?
Well, it means it's tailored to the needs of individual students. So we have a very small group of very, very talented students within our school. So for them, it'll be a largely academic curriculum. They might do 3 sciences, English language, English literature, a modern foreign language, with a view that probably go off to college to study A-levels and then perhaps to university. But for some students, they might be interested in vocational subjects. So we have hospitality and catering, hair and beauty, and you can do a combination of academic and vocational. So it is very much tailoring the curriculum to the needs of individual children. And for example, within particular subjects, for English for example, we look at how boys learn in English and the sorts of texts that they might want to learn. So we always have to have Shakespeare on the curriculum, so we look at all the Shakespeare plays and choose very carefully which Shakespeare text we're going to study so that it meets the needs of both the boys and the girls within the curriculum.
There's something about the atmosphere at Gateway Academy. We work with 8 senior schools in the borough, and they're great schools, they all are. But when you come to things like the pre-prom or subject study choices, and even you've got some atmosphere. Is that cultivated? Or how does that
I think again it comes back down to relationships, and we're not reluctant to have fun, if that makes sense. For example, Children in Need, we've just celebrated, and we abandoned the curriculum for a day, and we just did fun stuff. And in doing that sort of activity, we had keepy uppy competitions where kids had to head balls and all sorts of fun things, and that galvanises a school. People work together. And again, it develops that very, very positive relationship. We like to smile, we like to laugh wherever we can. And we're also saying that there was a time 4 years ago when our attendance was stuck at 84%. Now it's 93%, so it's above the national average. And it's because we're trying to get that balance between get into lessons and really work hard, but also have fun and develop those extracurricular activities and opportunities to engage in things that schools sometimes just don't have the time to do. I think it's really important that we provide time occasionally for kids to do stuff that's a bit wacky and off the wall. And these are things that they go home and talk to their parents about, and it develops an ethos within the school that's very positive.
Are you a victim of your own success? I know some people are concerned about local people having access to this school. And indeed Jackie Doyle-Price, the MP, has got involved in that argument. Where do you stand on all this?
We're heavily oversubscribed now. There was a time 4 years ago when the school was heavily undersubscribed, and the 2 predecessor schools were not empty, but they were only half full. So the local authority that commissioned this building had to make a decision how big it wanted it, and it could have made it big enough to accommodate 8 forms of entry. But the issue then was, would it have filled it up? And nobody knew at that stage. So what it quite rightly did, in my view, was have a 2-phase programme. The initial phase, which has been built, was for 6 forms of entry. That's 180 students in every year group, 900 in all, plus a 6th form. And phase 2, which was for the future, was to allow for the building to expand. And perhaps we're at the stage now when phase 2 needs to be contemplated. We regret the fact that we can't accommodate all the young people in Tilbury and Chadwell that want to come to our school. We do see ourselves very much as a community school, a school for our community. Our admissions policy really makes that very clear, that it admits people primarily on where they live, and the closer you live to the school, the more likely you are to get in. But because it has become so popular, we just don't have the places.
Where do you see the school in 5 years' time?
Well, where I'd like to see the school in 5 years' time is expanding into primary provision to become an all-through academy, which means we would take students into infant age right the way through to 6th form. And I would also like to see the academy as a catalyst to support its local primary schools. There is an issue, I think nationally, with a change in government and a change in philosophy. And I think local authorities are going to have less power. They may not exist in 4 or 5 years, which means that schools need to collaborate much more actively than they're doing at the moment. And I believe, and we're working on a process at the moment, to bind the schools in so that people like myself, leaders of schools, leaders in our community, will have an accountability for everything that's happening in terms of education, so that we support. If there's a problem in my school, my colleague head teachers will support me. If there's a problem in other schools, I can support them as well. So I think that for me is the way of the future, and I would like to see the academy being able to accommodate all the young people that would want to come here.